Hi everybody, welcome. Today I'm with Bonnie again, and we're going to be talking about what, Bonnie?
Living walls.
Living walls, or vertical green walls, different names for these. And Bonnie has done this all on her own. I don't know if you've asked for any advice from me, or did you just pull this off on your own?
No, it was all me.
It was all her. She's studying to be a master gardener, and I couldn't be more proud. I love this living wall that she created, this green wall, and we're going to tell you how she went about it and certain things that worked and didn't work,
Yes.
so that you can look to do something like this in your home. So, you ready to dig in?
Yes.
Let's
Let's
go.
grow.
To kick this off for you, we're going to show you the materials list down here so you can get all the stuff that you need to make a living wall like this. You know, you'll obviously need the material, you'll need some kind of structure to place the living wall on, and a series of other things to make this happen. Oh, look, we got a bumblebee.
We have our little
little honeybee. That's what's really cool about these, you know, as a side note here, is that when you have a space that's static, like Bonnie has this to screen her propane tank, and this is a great way to put something on a patio space where you may not be able to put plants in the ground. You can do something vertical. And this is so cool. I'm very proud of you. Can't tell you how much I love this. So now that we gave you those materials, we'll go in and tell you about how you can, you know, do this, the processes, and we'll have this all written out for you. But what we want to show you now is the plants, because this is the after, and this is what is amazing. And we're also going to show you a process where she changed out a few of them,
Right.
because some of them didn't take so well or do
Right.
so well. And all these are pretty much from your garden, right?
Yes, I've propagated everything from my garden except these beautiful
Calico.
calico, which I wish I had, but I didn't.
Yeah. So she's got, so the plants you have are
We have
Bromeliad, the
fire bromeliad right here.
fireballs,
And then we have the baby sunrose that have
perennial favorite that everybody loves.
so
right?
good. It's such a good ground cover
Yes,
too.
yes,
And we have two different colors. We have the variegated,
right.
and then we have one with a yellow flower. as
Yes,
well.
she also has that.
And
Just-
then we have the baby rubber plant, which goes
Yes.
by another name I don't
Yes,
know.
Peperomia obtusifolium, I believe, variegata. One of my favorite, there's the green, the solid green one would do great in a living wall as well.
I love this plant.
But I love the variegated.
So hardy.
Yeah, and this Peperomia is a Florida native, which is really
And
cool.
I love it, and I would want it more over here, but it does
The
better
sun.
in the shade, and this
Yes.
part of the wall gets more shade.
Yes, yes, and that's very important about this process, which we want to explain a little bit with you, is that because of the way this is oriented to the southeast,
Yes.
and she has a large oak tree and one behind us, she does get pockets, and the home is over here to your left, my right. She's getting some sun, so at different times of the year, some of the plants may burn. Fireball can do well in sun or part shade, and so can the baby sunrose. But the peperomia, if you have them way too far to that side where Bonnie is, they may get a little burn, and they'll start to look more lighter and lighter in color, and that shows that they're getting a little bit too much sun.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing will happen here with the wandering dude, is that it will change the color, and it's not your favorite. You like it to have more of this,
Yeah.
and this
that
is getting more shade over here,
Yeah,
and it
it's
gets
so
more
pretty.
of the green and the purple together.
So hardy. So
Yeah.
hardy. If you don't
Yeah.
want to have to worry about a plant, get that one.
Yeah.
So good.
And the baby sunrose. I just
Yeah,
love
baby
the baby sunrose. But your Kalanchoe looks so pretty, you guys.
Just
She
a little
picked
pop of
these-
color.
these- What I think is really a happy circumstance of things is that the darkening of the wandering dude and the Kalanchoe goes so well together for me. It's so pretty. And you can see they're starting to cascade,
Mm-hmm.
which is really nice. And these were just put in today because some of these didn't. So you'll see these baby sunrose will, as soon as they root, will turn towards the sunlight.
Right. Like this one has already been established, so he's all nice and perfect.
Yes,
These guys
yes.
they're going to take a couple of weeks or so to fill in and be nice and perfect.
I mean, guys, it looks fake. When I was here, I thought she had, I thought these were fake. I really did. I couldn't believe how well they were blooming. She's in 9B, so you guys know this. So these are plants that are going to do well in zone 9B. But in anywhere from 7 to 11, you can, even further north, you can do this anywhere as long as you have the right plants, the right materials, and the You don't even necessarily have to have a green thumb. You just have to have a little bit of moxie, a little bit of determination. Don't give up. If a plant doesn't do well, you can simply take one. Can you take one out of a pocket?
Sure.
You just pop them out,
Yeah.
change them out, or put them in a plant nursery to have them go in your garden if they're not doing well. Put a new plant in there, and we'll show you now what we did here to put these in, so you can see the process of wrapping them in the felt-like material to go into these pockets that come pre-assembled. And this size is what?
There's 24 pockets, and then we have 3 panels.
3 panels, 24.
Right.
Okay.
And that's just what
Like
I
4
liked
by 8.
aesthetically for our needs here. And my husband, I love him dearly, he said he was going to install a drip line for me. He hasn't as of yet.
Which is very, very helpful.
Helpful.
And a lot of the systems that you can get online, some of them come with that, some don't, depending on how you go about it. And some people can have their own system that they want to put in there. But a drip system is recommended because that does help. And you can just simply put them from the top, and they kind of just cascade down.
And then we can have it come straight down.
Yeah.
It will happen, just not yet. So I hand water, which is not a big deal.
It's just beautiful. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you those detailed instructions, so you get a full idea of how to do this, and also the process of changing them out. And then we'll come back and do a quick closing. So let's go on to that step. To start off and help those who may not know exactly what a living wall is, or a green wall, or vertical green wall, simply put, it's a collection of plants grown vertically, usually in modules with fabric pockets. It can also be in plastic, and you can also make these yourself. And these are attached to a freestanding frame like what we have in Bonnie's yard, or you can attach them to your home, and they have many benefits. Some of those benefits, other than they're just beautiful to look at, is that they can also help with biodiversity. You can add a lot of different plants and bring in pollinators and wildlife. And you can also use them as a way to get some food crops for your home, which is really cool if you decide to use one in that way. There's also another benefit of living walls that I'd like to mention, is that you can use them to help keep your building cool. You can attach them to structures, as you can see here, me with my mother-in-law. And this actually is baby sunrose. It was stunning. They had just trimmed it, but it has all these little pink flowers if you come up close to it. So pretty. And these can actually help mitigate this is actually facing southwest, this building here, and it can actually mitigate heat gain on the building, which is a really cool feature that you can use with the living wall, which is great for the environment. Okay, now let's talk design. Before you even think about buying plants, consider these 4 key factors. 1, location, location, location. This is crucial. How much sun does your area get? Does it get a lot of sun or just morning sun? This will dictate your plant choices more than anything else. If it's a shady area, you're going to need shade-loving plants, for example. Also, you want to consider visibility. Do you want this as a stunning focal point, or just something tucked away as a private green oasis? It's your choice, but you need to frame this space the way you want it. The second one is structure and system. How are you going to support the vertical garden? In Bonnie's case, they already had an existing wall to hide her propane tank. So you need to have something that is sturdy, that's going to be able to hold this. Living walls can be quite heavy, so you have to make sure that you attach it to a structure that's going to be able to hold its weight. The third one is irrigation. There are some systems you can buy right off the shelf that have a drip system. That's a really great way to do this, because living walls, especially on windy days, can dry out kind of quickly. Now, we're going to be talking about soil in a minute, because a good soil mix is vital for a living wall, in that you don't want it too heavy to add too much weight, but you don't want it to dry out too much, and you also want the right type of soil for the right plant. You can also hand water your living wall like Bonnie is currently doing. Side note here, I absolutely love this part of gardening. I don't know why. Since I was a kid, I love watering plants. It's like one of my favorite things to do. Anyways, so back to irrigation. Hand watering is one way, not ideal. So I highly encourage you to get a drip irrigation system, and then still monitor your plant, because on a windy or a very hot day, they could possibly dry out. And if so, you may need to augment with additional watering. And number 4 is plant selection strategy. You need to consider color, texture, form, and size. Do you want a uniform look or a tapestry of different plants? aim for plants with the similar light and water needs to be grouped together, and then incorporate other trailers to spill over the edges. Now let's talk about soils. But before we do that, one little cool fun fact is that living walls were actually invented by a landscape architect named Stanley Hart White way back in the 1930s. He was a professor at the University of Illinois, the landscape architecture department, and he developed the first green wall system, but it didn't become widely used until the 1980s. All right, now onto soil mixes. The first one I want to go over with you is succulents and cactus mix for a living wall, and we recommend this mix. 2 parts cactus potting mix, 2 parts coarse perlite, really big chunky perlite, 1 part coconut coir, and 1 part worm castings. And mix it all up together and it's going to look like this image you see before you. That's going to be a well-drained mix, and it's also going to be lightweight, which is vital for a living wall. You don't want it too heavy. The next one I want to discuss with you is if you're going to do a living wall with annuals and herbs and vegetables primarily, this is the mix we recommend for those. 2 parts potting mix, 2 parts worm castings, 1 part perlite, and 1 part coconut coir. And the third mix we recommend for perennials, vines, and tropicals is 3 parts tropical potting mix, 2 parts worm castings, 1 part perlite, and 1 part coconut coir. So to recap on plants and soil, you want to just match the right plant to the right soil, and you want to try to get it as lightweight as possible so you don't overburden the structure that your living wall is growing on. And we're curious, if you've had a good soil mix and plant combination that have done really well for your living walls, let us know that down in the comments below. One of the benefits of having individual pockets in a living wall is that if a plant doesn't do well, you can change them out. So what we're going to do now is show you some plants that Bonnie is changing out, and you can see how it's actually done. Bonnie, what's happened here? What are we up to?
So these are the felt sheets that go inside my living wall, and I am going to be changing out a few of the plants that didn't do so well. They just were not so happy.
Sometimes they don't take, but
he was rooting, but just they weren't happy. Yeah. I'm going to replace them with the ones that I just pulled from my garden that are happy.
She's recycling and repurposing.
Yeah, so I'm going to be getting rid of these, and I have one more.
She has the wandering dude here that she's going to.
You're
going to put the non-variegated baby sunrose in both.
Yes, actually I have 4.
Oh, okay.
4 of them that I'm going to be replacing. So I put this, I love these, but I only like them when they're in the shade, and because they have this little beautiful, see, these guys are in the shade. Look how pretty they are.
Yeah.
But when
they'll get bleached out in the sun. These don't typically want, and she has a great location, but it gets sometimes, different times of the year, it gets more sun. It's part sun.
And I have a lot of these.
And she does.
I don't need more.
Yes.
Okay.
Look at the flowers on these. Aren't they they're almost like fake? They're so beautiful.
Yeah, and I got some little yellow ones too.
Ooh,
and then the last one.
Pretty. Yeah, it's still alive, but it's suffering.
I mean, I could probably actually
put them aside and see. Yeah.
Not this guy. This guy, I think, okay. Yeah, because look.
Yeah. He's got a lot of roots.
He's got some roots. That one, not so much. So I'm going to keep him and just add. So this is just
nice
potting soil for my local.
Nice, good potting mix.
Yeah, potting mix.
Well drained. That's important to have the right amount of potting mix you need for the type of plant too, because these are succulent-like plants, the baby sunrose, but these are great because they cascade and do great in living walls.
And I just put a good, because I have a lot, so I can put a lot of clippings in each little pouch.
Right, and instantly get a full look right away.
So
oh my goodness, you guys, look at that bunny. Oh, it's so pretty, just like my little baby sister. Beautiful. Wow.
All right, so this will be enough for this one here.
And you don't even root them in root hormone. She just puts them in there, wraps the soil around them.
And I will add a little of the water I have here just to get the roots a little wet. And then I'll pack the soil around the stems.
Do you need any more? The soil's good.
Maybe just a tad more, just to cover it up. Okay, and then we just fold it
like
in
origami.
Yeah, just kind of like almost like a little envelope.
And then you wrap it in concrete. No.
We just have a
a
simple
rubber band.
A rubber band
Oh,
that
that's
comes
so good. That's so much
with
better.
the living wall.
Yes, concrete, no.
And then we can come right over to our living wall
Yeah.
and put this little baby in.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do.
Fill in one of the spots. There's these little pockets. As you can see, there's this little felt pocket right here.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to put it in here, and then they will be all nice and
This is what
happy.
she's talking about, these little pockets. Look at that. Nice. Count Koi. Oh! And we just rinse and repeat.
Yep.
Nice. And now a quick word about plants. Depending on your hardiness zone, whether you live in 7 or 8, all the way down to 11, that's going to dictate the plants that will grow in your region. But again, you need to know about their sun and shade tolerance. So we'll be doing other videos down the road to talk about those specifics. But here you got a good example of what grows in 9B. And many of these plants in Bonnie's living wall will actually grow down in 10B and 11. And there are many more. You can do a lot with bird's nest fern and pothos and so many other tropicals. They make really dynamic living walls. But again, we'll save that for another video. Once again, thank you so much for stopping by. We hope this was informative. If you have any thoughts or questions, just leave them in the comment below. Or what can they do? They can send us an email, right?
Absolutely.
To letsgroweco@gmail.com, and we'll make sure we get back to you. So please let us know also. I think it would be cool if people tell us, like, what green walls have you done? Like what region of the United States you live in? Like if you live in 7 or 8, like what plants you use and what successes and things that didn't work, because that's really helpful, because it's a learning process. And definitely with you, it's a little tricky.
I've gone through
Trying to deal with the sun shade, because at other times of the year when the sun's lower, you're going to do, the plants will get more shade. But right now, as we're going further into the summer, or beginning to go into the summer, you're going to get the tree protecting it. But right now you got that pocket over the home that has caused you to do a little adaptation. But anyways, until the next video, bye. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And tell your friends and family. We post videos weekly. Thanks.